How many of you were here in September of 2018 when did the PechaKucha bumper stickers? This is the last bumper sticker I showed. This is what's on the rear end of my car. It's about seizing the day, and you've got to learn how to steal, swear, gamble, drink, and lie. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. This whole adventure actually began back in 1989. Those of you who remember Dead Poets Society. We had just purchased a sailboat. We came out of the movie theater, and my wife said, I know what we can call the sailboat, Carpe Diem, but we spell it C-A-R-R-P-E-D-I-E-M. So if you fly on an airplane, you also know that in case the plane loses pressure, oxygen mask, who's the oxygen mask going first? You got to steal time for yourself. You've got to quit honoring busyness, because actually busyness numbs the rest of us. I also know that stillness is where the answers are. In fact, Dag Hammarskjöld said that understand through stillness, act out of stillness, conquer out of stillness. And that Zen proverb, you should meditate every day for 20 minutes, and if you can't, you got to do it for an hour. Two most important days of our lives, the day we're born and the day we discover our purpose. I don't know about you, but I celebrate my birthday every year and toast my parents. I also try to remember the day that I discovered my purpose. I've also discovered that the word that keeps me from my purpose and the behavior is later. Saying I'll do it later is one that keeps me from rationalization and denial. It's about excuses of not being committed and responsible. Most of all, it says I'm inventing things to avoid what's really important. I admit it, I'm broken, I'm cracked. What I mean by that is I have warts, scars, afflictions, imperfections, disabilities. I don't let them define me, though. In fact, what I've discovered is these are actually treasure maps, and they're actually a way to be more soul-centric. They're also about living into my eulogy instead of my resume. Theodore Roosevelt said it best. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't be able to sit for a whole month. So I don't know about you, but I swear not to take myself so damn seriously. I'm born to make mistakes and not fake perfection. The one word I know that keeps me from swearing is cynicism. Cynicism is basically a trademark of an unhappy person. It basically kills optimism, creativity, and innovation, but most of all, it's like drowning in disappointment. I'm risk adverse. I like my comfort zone. I'm a creature of habit. I know I've got to gamble. I've got to get out of my comfort zone. And I know that I need to stop feeding my fears so that I can get out of my comfort zone. Do you know the difference between bacon and eggs? The chicken was involved, the pig was committed. So I've discovered you've got to be committed if you're going to gamble. In other words, if you're going to get out of your comfort zone, you've got to push forward in that. That also means that you need to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. It also means that that's the experience my mother had in birthing me. The one word that keeps me from gambling, but tells my brain to come up with other reasons for not gambling. It makes excuses. It rationalizes status quo, but most of all, but numbs my brain. I drink. I drink in relationships. I'm wired to connect face-to-face, not through social media, not through email, not through texting, but face-to-face. Relationships are built on two things. One is trust, and the other one is reciprocity. So a question I've got to ask myself is, am I being trustful? Do you remember the Time Person of the Year in 2007? It was you and me. And what that's morphed into is we have become a society of hyper-individualism. Hyper-individualism is leading to loneliness. It's an epidemic, and that's the leading cause of suicides. I've got to be in a V formation. I've got to connect with others. I've got to make sure that I'm encouraged, but I also encourage. I also got to make sure that by being in the V formation, I'm actually more productive. The word that kills relationships, should. Should is abusive. It's also about being in control. It's also about judgment. It says you're not worthy, as in you should have listened to me. You should have done this, or you should have done that. Should kills the spirit. To be better at relationships, you got to listen. My grandmother used to remind me that the best talkers are the best listeners. So it's about being interested as opposed to being interesting. It's about asking more than telling. It's about being more engaged. Finally, I lie. I lie down at night and I say thank you. Because what I've discovered is gratitude turns what I have into enough. Gratitude turns denial into acceptance, the ordinary into the extraordinary, a meal into a feast, and the house into a home. I'm blessed. I have an incredible family, which I'm grateful for. I have a wonderful partner. I have good health, good friends. I'm part of a great nurturing communities, which is important for my own development, of which leads me to the actually, I'm really grateful to live in this place called Asheville. It's not perfect. It's a work in progress, just like me. But every time I drive back from Ohio, from where I'm from, and cross that Tennessee, North Carolina border, I say thank you. I also say thank you to Jay and to Megan, to all the staff that helped put this on, to all the presenters, and to all of you for letting me share, seizing the day.